Hello everybody and welcome back. Today we are getting into the April bullet journal setup, and this month, if you can't already tell by the pencil drawings that I have done, is going to be based on DuckTales. So I'm a little bit ahead of schedule because I believe the new seasons actually come out on Disney in May, but we really enjoy watching this with our niece and I'm just super excited about it. And since we've been watching it, I wanted to go ahead and do some doodling because I was inspired. So this is an older drawing from the original DuckTales of Huey, and so flipping to the next page here, I'm doing my outline. I actually will go back and color in Huey. I just wasn't sure at the time if I wanted to color them in or not, but I thought it would end up looking a little too boring for my taste. So the monthly layout is similar to the one that I did in January, and I am also just doing some doodles here. I thought about doing more and like sort of covering the bottom almost like it was Scrooge's money bank, but I just decided that might be a little bit much for me, and so I just did the 2 pages here. Then using green, I went back through and did the outline and realized I'd missed one, and then added in the numbers here. And I probably could have added more to this page, but the drawings that I was doing this month were really quite intense, so they were pretty intense little drawings, and so I didn't end up doing a whole lot of small doodles because the pages that I were doing involved such large drawings. And then this I kind of did on the fly. I wasn't going to color it in, but then I decided I just needed to color it in if I was going to color in Huey, and I actually looked like Edward marker hands with this because I had all of these colors in my hands just rotating them through. So I'm not the best at doing blending with my Tombow dull brush pens, but I think I ended up doing a pretty good job just for not really doing this too many times. And I think it looks better on camera almost than in person, but I still think it does look pretty cool, and it's pretty close to the logo coloring, which is kind of a hard color to do actually if you're drawing it yourself. So this took a good little bit of a minute, and certainly if people have some tips and tricks on doing gradient coloring, that would be awesome and they could put that in. So flipped past the monthly layout, and now I am doing my habit tracker. I am going back to, or keeping, that same bigger spread. I like that. Sometimes I think having the smaller months works, but for me, I really think having that large spread. I also really liked my sleep tracker, so I wanted to keep that. And then I just wanted to have little bulb up there holding up my habit tracker sign, and I thought that was really cute. I did not color him in. I just thought, you know, he's a mechanical being. It seemed like pencil drawing was enough, and they're really small parts, so I didn't think it would be that interesting. The other doodle that I wanted to put on this page, because I already had Little Bulb, which is kind of a bad guy, and so I thought I would continue with that theme of kind of bad guy, sort of not bad guy, and add Lena on this page. And of course, if you know Lena, then you have to add in Magica behind her as her shadow. So I really liked the way that this ended up looking, and I had to add a line in there because I didn't think it looked right otherwise. So that was pretty cool. And then using my Tombow dull brush pens, I went back through and just colored everything in. I used Tombow dull brush pens for pretty much all of the coloring. I do have some Crayola super tip or markers that I really need to try, but coloring with the dull brush pens just tends to be so easy with the brush line. I really like coloring with that tip. Also, I just wanted to mention that to get an idea for these characters other than watching the movie itself, I looked at Pinterest and Googled images of the actual movie or actual show itself so that I could get a better idea. And then I really like the drawingtutorials101.com for some of the older versions, and I used those, and they show you step-by-step guidelines on how to do it, and that is how I drew Mrs. Beakley and how I learned to draw on the first one, Huey. And so it's something that I would definitely take a look at, and I'll link it down below. So I did end up doing the older version, Mrs. Beakley, on my meal plan and recipe list page because I didn't feel like the newer version was as much of a house nanny as more of like kicking butt type taking care of Scrooge deal. And whereas the older one I feel like seemed a little bit more of the nanny style. And then my last page here is a newer version of Louie Duck, and I really relate to Louie Duck because I really like green, which is his color, and I love hoodies. So I had to include him somewhere in here, and I thought including him in the brain dump was the best idea because it always seems like he's got some sort of scheme going, whether it's to get rich or mostly to get rich. And so I thought that he would have some sort of brain dump for how he was going to get rich quick. So that concludes my April bullet journal setup, and I'm going to now flip back to March. So if you want to flip through and see how the Songs of the Sea bullet journal setup went for the month, then you are welcome to keep watching this. And I really enjoyed this. It was not as crazy as some of my other bullet journals. This is definitely by far my favorite page, and there's definitely been some crinkling, but overall it's really held up with the watercolor, and I really love the sleep tracker, and I've been doing a pretty good job of keeping up with my habit tracker this month, which is definitely good. Much better than I did with my meal plan. As you can see, I was doing pretty good, and then I just kind of fell off the wagon, and then once you forget a couple days it gets a little bit hard. So then the last page here, of course, is just a note that I did get a new car, and I was pretty excited about it, so I wanted to include a picture of it in there. So then I'm going to go ahead and flip through the rest of April. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and as always, don't forget to give me a subscribe and a thumbs up, and have an excellent month. Thanks, guys.